Hey, how's it going guys? JaySea here. As promised, I have compiled practically all the questions asked in the AMA video and presented my answers to you in video format. There was over 2 hours of footage, so a lot had to be cut out, and even then the video ended up to be 30 minutes long. So hopefully this video will help you guys get to know more about me, as well as answer a bunch of questions that you guys might have had. How do I climb with Tryndamere? Can you make steps? My whole channel is pretty much revolved around this, so you just have to look at the videos that are specific to what you want to win against in lane, and then just watch from there. You should be good to go. I provide as much advice as I possibly can, and those videos will basically shed every bit of information that I could think about for that matchup and for that particular game, and should help you out. But in a general sense, you know, get a kill, take tower, Rift Herald, go to bot lane, stop their feed, take the enemy bot lane tower, and then start split pushing. And you know, hopefully you can survive and get a kill against 2 or 3 people, who whatever they send to you, and just close out a game just simply because you outweigh the enemy top laner. Is there a way to shut down a good Pantheon, or will he just roam and kill all my teammates? Make sure that you give your team ample warning when Pantheon's level 6 and onwards. Make sure you don't die to him, obviously, because you start Q with cloth armor. You can take TP so that you can follow him, or you can take Ignite and try to kill him. But either way, just make sure you don't feed him, and make sure you give ample warning to your team. You can even follow him with TP. If you don't want to follow him with TP, then just try to push his tower down. That's about it. If you ever stop playing Tryndamere, what champion will you replace him with and why? I was thinking, because right now it's tank meta, and I just feel like Tryndamere is just not very strong in terms of team fights. If you're just to play a tank and you're unkillable in a team fight, you pretty much have that team fight won, and it's just GG from there. So right now tank meta is pretty OP, and I was thinking about giving Rammus a try, so doing quite a few games with him. Nothing really too spectacular. How much willies? You suck. None at all. I do not swing that way. What do you think about Vlad, and will you play him sometime? I think Vlad is a very strong champion, but the thing is, I do not have any plans to play him at the moment. When do you know you will have to carry a low game, and when should you let your teammates do the hard work and you should just play chill? So for this question, you never want to play chill unless you have to. The thing is, if you play chill and you just let your team carry, you're probably playing support. And if you're not playing support, then you're doing something really wrong, unless you fed in lane or you lost your lane pretty hard, you're just really far behind, or you're auto-filled. So those are the only situations where you want to let your team carry you and just sit back, farm, and play really safe, is if you are behind. If you're not, then depends on champion as well, but there's a number of factors. General rule of thumb is you should not actually just play chill and let your team carry you, because that just gets you into the 50-50 win chance, you know? What are your favorite shows to watch? Well, lately I have not been watching any shows, but what comes to mind is in the past, like way back in the day, I used to watch Bleach. Depends on how busy it is. So the busier I am, like say HSC, exam time, I was watching a lot of Bleach. Uni, or I was working retail jobs and it was just really hectic, I was watching like Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad. Like, the busier it gets, the more shows I watch. And then when it's not as busy, I just stop watching shows. So it's just really weird. But anyways, in terms of anime, I also watch a bit of anime. There was shows like Mirai Nikki, ReZero, Attack on Titans, but haven't been following them recently. So that's the thing, is I do want to catch up on those because they are a ton of fun to watch. How shall I play versus Tryndamere on top lane? Some tips considering your experience with this champion. As a general rule, just play a tank champion. Survive the early levels, buy a Bramble Vest, and you're good to go. Just buy Randy ones after that, you know. Buy Ninja Tabbies. Always rush that one. That one's really good against Tryndamere. And yeah, just don't die early levels. Can you make some specific details about how to climb low elo like gold and silver? I have quite a few gold and silver videos on my channel. Just refer to those and they'll give you ample advice, more than I can possibly give you in the few seconds that I have answering this question. So make sure you do check those out. They are on my channel. Just look for them, you know, they're there. Any advice about kissing girls? Do not ignore this important question. I do not have any solid advice, but just make sure you get their permission. Why do I have a small penis? Everyone is born a certain way, you just have to embrace the way you are. So there are girls out there that would love you for your small penis, and there are girls out there that will love you for your big penis. So it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Have you ever tried Osu? If yes, will you ever do a video about it? So I've seen a lot of streamers play Osu, and the thing is, it's pretty overused. I don't know if there's any point of me making a YouTube video about it, but maybe in terms of in the future when I do start streaming, I might actually play it because you guys will ask me to. But that's about it. Otherwise, no, I have never tried Osu, and I do not have any plans to make a video about it. Is there any other champions you thought of maining? So I think what I said earlier was just tank champions like Rammus because they're pretty strong right now. What do you think about the next season changes in LoL? It's quite hard to say because I haven't played it and I haven't really seen anything other than like some massive impactful keystone, and that's about it. So that's all I know, is that they've just removed everything, thrown it all out the window. So they probably need to scale the champion's base stats themselves to make up for the loss of 9 armor runes and all of that, AD, attack speed, all of that. So they'll need to rescale everybody's base stats, and then you just have the keystone. I think it'll be pretty much the same as before, it's just more simplified now. Will we ever do some fun league games with fans? So I did try to organize something my previous video, which is the Jax video. Do check that one out, and it will have information about how we can get together and perhaps play that onslaught mode, that new onslaught mode where you have to get S rank and then everyone gets like 1000 RP. So I'm thinking about organizing that, so make sure you guys try to sign up for that if you are playing on Oceania Server, and that's what I have planned so far. What's your favorite game of all time? League of Legends. Although I did play old school RuneScape for the majority of my life, I'd say, or maybe even World of Warcraft, so it's a bit hard to say. In terms of time spent, World of Warcraft. In terms of longevity, duration, I'd say it has to be old school RuneScape, but in terms of what's current, it will be League of Legends. So there you go, guys. In top lane, how do you know when it is a good time to ward or roam into other lanes and when to apply pressure to lanes near your tower? You always want to ward when you're pushing out your lane, so say anywhere beyond the 3-minute mark. If you are pushing into the enemy territory, make sure you ward the river. In terms of roaming, you want to roam whenever you can push out the enemy laner, maybe take the first tower. The rule is you push out your lane and then you roam. Or if you're really far ahead and you want to dive, so you said apply pressure to lanes near their tower. So if they're hugging their tower, the thing is you can actually spin from your Raptor camp into the mid lane and just dive them with your ultimate. So that is a strategy that you can do as well, depending really on the matchup and how you feel about it. Who's your favorite champion? Obviously Tryndamere, but your background's Irelia, so just asking. Yeah, Irelia is probably my favorite champion. What do you think about the highest ranked Tryndamere in Korea? He is Master, plays with TP and Ghost, maxes W second, and levels his R at 11-16 instead of 17 and 18. I heard of him in the comments, but I don't know how he plays. I haven't seen him play, so I do not have any idea. I'd say that TP and Ghost is also viable. It's really good. W second depends on the matchup, I'd say. It gives you extra AD reduction for extra ranks, but the thing is, if you're not versing an AD champion, then it wouldn't be as useful. But it could be useful against duelists like, you know, Jax, Fiora, maybe even Jarvan, or someone that builds AD. So maxing W second could be good. It's just that E is just so good in terms of mobility. But maybe if you're playing really defensive, you might not want to max your E, because you won't be really trying to chase them or need that mobility. In terms of maxing ultimate 11 and 16, I do not agree with that one. Do you think proxy Tryndamere with Tiamat is viable? I mean, after thinking about it for a very long time, I'd like to say no. And that's because the way Singed works is that you are able to get all the farm and you're able to do percentage health damage and just AoE percentage health damage to the point that the enemy team, even if they're fed, you can still outweigh their effectiveness because you have your Liandries and you're able to just shred through percentage health damage and just kill everybody. But if Tryndamere was to proxy, then you'd have a lot of trouble because they will potentially get a lot of kills on you, since you're putting yourself in a huge risk by being really deep in their base. In that sense, you're going to die a lot, no matter what, because in higher elo, they're going to be able to catch you and they're going to kill you, especially if the mid laner just has to walk up a few steps and then you're there. So if you're trying to escape, their mid laner will cut you off, you're going to die, they're going to get really strong, and it's just going to be a bad time. That's just what I think for now. But, you know, let me know if you see someone that makes it work, because then I would probably be more inclined to try it in my climb. How long have you been in Australia? So I'm born and raised in Australia. Best champions to play with Tryndamere? Anivia. Is Master Yi good for climbing low elo? I am in bronze. Yes, Master Yi is really good. It is a low elo stomper. It seems the current meta is very much against Tryndamere. So many popular champions make playing Tryndamere really hard now. Not just in top lane, but in mid and bot as well. I have played a lot of games against the counter and have done just to end up not having much effect in teamfight because of the enemy Alistar, Tristana, Ari are waiting for me because I'm the only fed person on the team. Any advice? Yes, I do have to agree that there are certain champions that really shut down Tryndameres in teamfights, and it's really, really annoying. And the best thing you can really do is you have to play to Tryndamere's strengths, which is split pushing. So If say you know that going into a team fight you're going to lose, you're going to just get CC chained and just killed, you'll be absolutely useless in a team fight, you have to split push. That is your one and only option in that sort of situation where you can't team fight. I'm hoping that answers your question. Put a ward in the jungle and just split push. If they were to come over, you just back away, make sure you don't die. Just keep up the pressure in the side lane. Eventually they'll crack and then you might be able to kill one person that they send to your lane. And then after that, just push all the way into their base. That's about it. That's really all you can do as Tryndamere in that given situation. Why do you one-trick Tryndamere? So I used to one-trick a bunch of champions to higher elo. It used to be Fiora. Before that, I used to one-trick Singed. And then there was a time where I was just playing Juggernauts like Darius and Garen. So those were the champions that I used to climb, off the top of my head anyway. And right now, I'm just climbing with Tryndamere. If your jungler farm until level 7 while you are getting dived with 3 men, and even with that your team is still losing all lanes while you did solo kill a Gnar, Ken and JaySea. Okay, so you're saying that your team's not helping you and you're getting 3-man dove. There's not much you can do about it, and that doesn't really happen every single game. So in situations like that, if you're very alert, if you know that they're going to dive you 3-man, you can make sure that you abandon your tower before you die. What is in your control is not dying. What's out of your control is 3-man diving. So if your tower is going to die, whether you stand there or not, make sure you abandon that tower. And that's about it. That's all you can do. Just farm up after that. Why don't you play a real champion? It's not a BM question. I main Trynd as well, and I feel like if I played anything other than Tryndamere, I would have been able to climb more. Just learn one other champion for matchups. So the thing with one-tricking is you're just very comfortable with one champion and there are no counters in your mind. You have a strategy against everything. That's just how one-tricking works. If you want to have 2 champions, that's probably better, and I do strongly encourage you to have like 2 or 3 champions in your pool for rank, but no more than that. Whereabouts in Australia do you reside, and are you planning on going to PAX Australia related? I currently do not have any plans to go to PAX, but you know, plans could change, and if they do, then I might go. But the thing is, I have some vacations lined up towards the end of this year, and I don't think I'm able to cancel those. So in that sense, I won't be able to, but we'll see. Put my comment in Q&A for no reason. Can you play some Kayle games and set up a Patreon? I could try Kayle, like it's very similar to Tryndamere, but I feel like it's just a weaker Tryndamere, except it is ranged, so that does have its advantages in lane, so might consider that in the future. In terms of setting up a Patreon, I have a PayPal link set up, and that is in every video link description. If you want to donate, you can through that. I just don't see a point of Patreon because they do take a big cut, and it's just like, what's the point, right? If there is a point of making Patreon, just let me know. But I think this PayPal method is more secure and just more familiar for me. How old are you? I'm in my 20s. I see you're into Pokemon due to these theme songs that you play at the end of your videos. What would be your top 3 Pokemon and why? Off the top of my head, I think I really like Marill. That's probably my favorite Pokemon, but I can't really think of any others because I haven't played in such a long time. Are you going to play and upload gameplays with different champions? Yes, I have, and I've already done so. You can check that in my channel. Just go and sort through latest or most recent videos and you'll see a bunch of different champions. If you become a big YouTuber, what are your future plans? In the future, not because I become a big YouTuber, but because this is something that I just enjoy doing, is I would like to stream and maybe have an editor do the editing for me so I can just focus on playing, which is what's the most fun to me. Can you spectate a Draven game? Sure. What community do you think is better, the League community or the old school RuneScape one? Keep up the good work. I'd say they both have their pros and cons, but definitely League of Legends community is way better than RuneScape. RuneScape just has a toxic community because of the way the game's set up in terms of PKing. You're really just stealing items from other players, and that also encourages scamming, which I don't think they do much about because those scammers, if you watch my videos, I did get scammed in RuneScape because, you know, I'm a complete knob, and when I got scammed, I did send a tweet to Riot. I sent a tweet to Jagex and they basically did nothing because I have those scammers added and they still log in from time to time, so nothing was done. What's really shocking is that when I tweeted to Jagex, they actually responded to me and they said they'll have a look at it, and I also showed them the video. I'm not sure if they looked at it or not, but I, you know, gave them video evidence. I reported in game. I also tweeted to them. I got a response. Everything was spoon-fed and they still didn't ban them, so I don't know what's going on, but it's pretty hopeless. How did you get your name JaySea? JaySea is just my initials, and who brought me into League of Legends? That'll be my friends, because I used to play Dota 1. Up until then, I only played Dota 1, but they forced me to play League of Legends, which I was really hesitant to do, and I didn't want to do it. Because of them, I made my League of Legends account, which, funny story is, I made that account with my friends, but I never played it after that Netcafe day. Little did I know, I already made a League of Legends account, which is my main account, which is Jerey, and that one has the UFO Corki skin because it was made during beta. I don't even know I made one, because I think I was just clicking into it. It says that League of Legends from the same creators as Dota, and that they are pretty much the same game, and I thought I'd give it a shot, so I made an account, but I never downloaded the client or played it back in beta. Between all LoL champions, is there one that you particularly hate or that you find extremely difficult playing against? I have to say the one champion that I strongly dislike that forces me to dodge will be Yasuo mid lane on my team. I've never won with a Yasuo mid on my team, but what I find extremely difficult to play against is a very good Anivia. If she's on the enemy team, it's really hard to team fight when she's around. There's so many ways for her to ruin me and to do massive damage to everybody. Also, Thresh is another one. When do you know it's time to leave top lane and push mid or bot, or that you should join a team fight? So when you want to leave top lane is when you get their tower and take Rift Herald. And in terms of joining a team fight, you want to join the team fight if they're already knocking at your door, in terms of they have Baron and they're just sieging your mid lane, and if you don't join, you're going to lose. That's probably when you should join team fight, or if you're there to clean up, say a fight breaks out and then you're able to join and just pick off their carries from behind when the fight's about to end. But most of the time you want to be split pushing because that's where your strength is. How was life when you were younger? Also, what was your dream career? When I was younger, I was really chubby, I was pretty fat, and I loved KFC, I loved eating chicken, and I also got to a point where I had trouble breathing when I went to bed every night. So that's when I knew I need to change something, so I went on to treadmills, and then I just went crazy. All out treadmills, lost a bunch of weight, and here I am. But in terms of maybe you're talking about social life in school, I was pretty much very antisocial. All I did was play games all day at home, and then when I went to school, I didn't know anyone that played games because they either were too ashamed to admit it or they were also antisocial, so they never actually revealed that to me, so never really made any real long-term friends in school. In terms of my dream career, as for my dream career, I always wanted to play games. It's just something that I've grown up with and I just love doing. So that's genuinely what I love, and in order to make it a career, I have to do something with it. So obviously I thought, hey, if I play so many games, maybe I have some knowledge and I could share it with you guys, and that might be a career. But in terms of what I love doing, I just love playing. So perhaps maybe in the future I could do streaming instead when I get better internet, and then have an editor do all the hard work for me while I just enjoy playing games and talking to you guys. I think that would be my dream career because that's what I've always wanted when I was a kid. And in order to get into this, I started with YouTube because it's going to take a very long time before I can get better internet. It's just how Australia is. Do you find yourself in a situation that you don't want to pick Tryndamere for whatever reason? If so, what champion do you pick? So I haven't had that situation, but if I was, I'd probably play a tank just because of how the meta is right now. Jay, what's the Asian doing in Australia? I was born here. Aren't you like on the crappiest server in LoL? Will you ever join LCS? No. What is the best counter to Tryndamere? Ninja Tappy and Bramble Vest. What is your zodiac sign? Taurus. What's your favorite color? Blue. Do you study? No. What is the difference between bronze and a diamond player? Decision making, game knowledge, mechanics, just everything all around. If you would main mid, what champion would you play? At the moment, Tryndamere. How do you lane versus Irelia? Yesterday I faced one and was so hard. Her mobility is insane. Against Irelia, you want to kill her early. First 3 levels is your chance. At level 4, it becomes pretty iffy. Like, she starts to get advantage towards level 6, and it just becomes really, really difficult mid game. But afterwards, it becomes easy again. So if you want to guarantee beating her in a 1v1, just buy Ninja Tabbies and Phantom Dancer, those two, and you'll basically be able to tank her out and probably kill her through your ultimate. But if not, then you want to scale all the way to late game. So it's your first 3 levels and late game. How do you balance old school RuneScape and League of Legends? Lately, what I've been doing is, because my internet's not that great, and if I was to play, I would lag unless I kick them off the internet, which is really bad. So I only do that for like 1 game when I record. But otherwise, I would play a game of LoL, record it, edit it, and then while I'm editing, I'll play some old school RuneScape, and then I'll play basically old school RuneScape for the majority of the day. How can I carry if I'm really far ahead in laning phase? You take their tower, take Rift Herald, and take it to bot lane, start snowballing the entire map. Just take your lead across the map and help everybody, and then go back to split pushing and then helping out whenever you can. You get hard CC'd in team fights, that's just part of being Tryndamere. Can't do anything about it, unfortunately. What you can do is most of the time you want to fight with your flash up, so you want to E-flash a carry, and that's pretty much what Tryndamere can, and that's the epitome of his team fighting basically. How do you know when you can dive someone? When you get really fed. How do you handle very aggressive early game champions like Riven or Pantheon, Camille, Yasuo, Yorick? Any tips? Depends. Yorick, you probably just kill him throughout. Yasuo, you probably beat him level 4 because level 1's hopeless. Camille is pretty strange, but you do beat her early on as well, and then you beat her late game. I think it depends. I think Camille is more like a snowball matchup. Pantheon, you just survive the first 6 levels and then you win. Riven, you win the first 3 levels, and then after that you'll start to outscale her as well. So she just doesn't want to fight you, basically. Once you get PD, you get your tabbies, you're good to go against Riven. Are you in college? No. What are your plans in life? I would love to be a streamer, play the games that I love to play, and interact with you guys. Probably the dream job. I have 2 questions. How many champions have the highest base movement speed? So, wait, what? Which team was Broken Shard on when he first died to red buff? Why? Highest base movement speed would be Master Yi and Pantheon at 366, unless we're talking about max level, which will be level 18 Cassiopeia at 400. Broken Shard's team, it will be DTG, Determined Gaming. If Tryndamere was removed from the game, which character would you play in order to continue your playstyle? I'll probably give Camille or Jax a try, or maybe even Vlad, I'm not sure. Why are you one trick, and how does someone figure out a power spike? So I think I answered the one trick question earlier, but in terms of power spikes, you figure out by playing a lot of games. I've got about 70% win rate with Trynd in Plat. I've noticed that the games I lose are because I ignore my team and they utterly get steamrolled. Any good signs or signals that can tell me when I should group and prevent the team from dying before I get my split push going? So a good sign is basically when you take their tower and then you take Rift Herald, you want to see how bot lane's doing and help them as soon as possible. If they don't need any help, then you can take it to mid lane, but either way you should help someone out, and after that you can continue split pushing so that it will minimize the amount of deaths they have. How many times did you play Trynd in normals before bringing him into ranked? Maybe I tried for a few days. I play jungle here and always spam him, but I see that most of the games my top laner doesn't roam and just sticks at top farm only. Should I play top and help my jungler roam while knowing all the wave management stuff? I'd say you have most carry potential in the jungle and mid lane, so definitely do not leave it just because a few top laners in your team is not roaming. So yeah, just keep at jungle and just do your best. You should be able to climb with jungle as well. It's a very strong role. Is Trynd top and Warwick jungle good to master to carry silver? Yeah, they're pretty good champions to win in silver games. What is your opinion about minion aggro? Doesn't it annoy you when they randomly change to the lowest HP one and kill before you could react? Yeah, that is yeah, it happens from time to time. Are you a weeb? No, I don't watch enough anime on a frequent basis. I watch anime every once in a very long time, but I don't really watch anime frequently to be considered a weeb. Who would you main if not Tryndamere, and do you see any potential for a Trynd rework? I'd say if Trynd gets a rework, I'm hoping that they could change his W to be more reliable. Otherwise, I don't really want any other changes. Or maybe add a crowd control for him, you know? If they are going to nerf his ultimate, add a crowd control. That would be pretty awesome. I think it's a good idea to start coaching Tryndamere players. What do you think about it? So I'm thinking that in terms of coaching, I want to do that when I start streaming because that'll be when I'm most comfortable. People can send me a link and then I'll be able to just open their replay and talk about it on stream. Some OP methods to train in old school RuneScape. Sand Crabs and Nightmare Zone, those are the 2 best places I can recommend to you guys. But if you want a guide for Nightmare Zone in terms of getting like 1,000,000 points for 1 hour, I actually got that down pat. I saw a video on YouTube about it, but I think I have a more refined strategy, so I kind of want to make a video about that. And it's also a low requirement one because my account's not that high level, so this will apply more to everybody rather than to that guy who's max level account. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, write that in the comments below. Can you show us or teach us a second option on top side split pusher like Jax or something if Trynd is banned? I'll definitely get around to playing some Jax games, so just make sure you stay tuned for it. Wave management video and warding is what I got from this comment. I cover that a lot in all my videos. I think every single video would have wave management and would have warding. For example, even you guys would have wave management experience just by simply being in lane and hitting a minion. That is already wave management in the most basic form, but if you want to go a bit more in depth, then you'll either stop hitting it or you'll hit it according to how your lane opponent is hitting. You just want to even it out. I think I talk a lot about it in my videos that I can't just cover in detail here. Hopefully you guys will be able to see that if you just watch my other videos. Is it better me or my pre-made to play in the same lane or in different? I think what this is talking about is if you're duo queued, then would you play together or a different lane? Well, that completely depends on the player, right? If you're more comfortable as a bot lane and support, then obviously you want to play together. If you're a top lane main, you do not want to force yourself to play AD and support. That just doesn't make sense. So play what you're comfortable with. When did you start playing League? I started playing League around Season 2. What was your elo the first year you played League? Straight out of placements, the very first time I played League in Ranked, I went to Silver and I was playing Akali. Back then there was no divisions, it was just a flat elo number, which I do not remember, but I just remember being placed in very high Silver and I was very close to Gold. The only reason I never reached Bronze is probably because I played a lot of Dota games and that gave me MOBA experience, so I was able to bounce my ideas off of that and never really reach Bronze in the first place. How fast or slow was your progress? So I went from Silver in Season 2 and then Plat Season 3 and then Diamond Season 4, and it was just Diamond throughout from then on. Since you started playing Ranked, how long did it take you to get out of each division? I actually don't know about that one. What is your current rank? Current rank is Diamond 3 and I peaked at Diamond 1 this season. What is holding you from climbing further? I'd say there's a number of issues, but mainly because I have a lot to improve on and it's best to just work towards it. Which enemy lane you would prefer not to get fed by your team? Anivia. Would it be easier for you to carry your team if enemy mid laner was a close combat fighter like Akali, Zed, Katarina, or ranged like TF, Syndra, Lucian? I think it would be easier for me to carry my team if they were a ranged AP champion. As long as they're not AD, I'm happy. Can you do the Undying Rage Scream? Okay, you guys ready for this? No. Is your right arm stronger than your left arm? I guess so. Why are you not challenger yet? I'm just not good enough yet. What do you look for from a support on your team? Specifically as a split pusher, but in general is good too. Is Thresh the best counter to enemy Tryndamere? I don't really pay too much attention to the support on my team, but someone who's tanky would be very nice, and someone who would keep our ADC alive and just not feed in general. And that's just all I really appreciate. But if you're talking about above and beyond, they would roam and they would help out the team and be a secondary jungler. Why the 90s spiky hairstyle? It's easy to maintain and I just like the looks of it. It's just something that I prefer. Favorite skin in all of League of Legends? Even if you don't own it. I don't really have a favorite. Can you make a Draw My Life video? Perhaps in the future. Why Essence Reaver? Is it better than IE with Tryndamere? Essence Reaver has exactly the same stats as IE. The only difference is instead of the crit bonus damage from IE, you get 30% cooldown reduction, which is way better. It just makes it so your whole kit has max cooldown reduction. That's just so good. What do you do for money outside of YouTube? I'm currently doing YouTube full time. It's a pretty big risk and my family's supporting me. So this is just something that I would love to get going, and hopefully when my net gets better, we can have it streamed. How long have you been playing League? Ever since Season 2. How to play Tryndamere against Jacob. I had the matchup yesterday and it was so annoying. For example, you wait for him to use all his skills and then you get feared from Jack in the Box. Very hard to get to him. Well, the key is you don't get to him, you don't chase him. And that's about it. You let your minions clear the boxes and then after that you can go up and farm. I am doing a one-trick Udyr. I want your input. It's a bad idea. What if I win my lane very hard, but my bot lane, mid lane, keeps feeding, and my jungler doesn't listen, passively farming jungle and not visiting lanes to gank? Is it possible to win with this feeding and tilting team? Depends. I did not watch your game, so I do not know. It's definitely possible. Depends on how hard they feed and depends on the team comps. And also depends on the enemy really. If the enemies are also feeders, then it evens out. Can you make a tier list of all the champions that Tryndamere can go against, like who's harder, who's easier? Maybe in a future video. 2 questions. If you were to switch to another one-trick champion, who would it be? I haven't decided yet. Probably one that has no mana. That would be very preferred. You mentioned having a couple really bad games, but you seem to deal with tilt better than the rest of us. What things help you get past these type of games without wanting to rage quit? I think it's just my personality. How much money do you make with each LOL video? I do not know, but it's very, very little and it's not enough to support. I'd say that you'll earn a lot more from doing any retail shop job. Just anything is better. Because right now I'm earning peanuts, nothing at all. What is the difference between Pete's build and Shiv and PD build? What? There's 3? Pete's build and Shiv and PD. What? Wait. Which build is better for split pushing, laning phase and team fighting? So Tiamat build is for team fighting. Laning phase, I'd say it will be the Shiv build. Split pushing, they're both pretty good. Which build do you prefer and which build is better for climbing in low elo? I'd say the Shiv build's better for low elo because you get that early aggressive power spike and you get to fight them early. What do I do if someone freezes lane? And whenever I try to go into XP, I just get poked so I can't farm. So the reason why they freeze on you is probably because you pushed. And you push because you push while being weaker than them. So that's the problem in itself. If you're weaker than your enemy, you shouldn't be pushing. For example, if you're up against a cannon, you should not be pushing against him, you know, it just doesn't make sense. Of course he'll freeze it on you and then you'll lose. So don't push against someone that you can't beat. Will you create an Iron Man on old school RuneScape? I haven't gotten around to that, and I don't plan to because Iron Man sounds very painful from what I understand. But maybe in the future, if I stream it and people really like to watch that, I might do that for content. How to play Tryndamere Garen matchup? Well, your ult counters his, so I don't really see the issue here. How was the cruise? The cruise is amazing, and I will be going again at the end of this year, so do stay tuned for that one. That'll be pretty awesome.
The voice has left the building, folks.